Hi everyone and welcome, this is the Apostate Prophet. I want to talk about an important matter that I have briefly brought up in two videos before. As a former Muslim, I think it is one of the strongest arguments or even proofs against Islam. And although it is about Islam and the Bible, it's not only relevant to Christians, Jews and Muslims. It is relevant to anyone who thinks about Islam's authenticity, or anyone who believes in it without ever having questioned it. I explained before that the Kaaba is the most important religious site in Islam. The Quran itself announces its holiness and tells Muslims to face it and to visit it. Muslims pray toward the Kaaba whenever they pray, and the Quran and Muhammad allege that it was built by Abraham and Ishmael. The black stone at the corner of the Kaaba is also of great importance and considered sacred, so much that it will speak in heaven. A stone. Now, according to Islamic belief, according to the Quran and Muhammad, Allah is the same God who also sent the biblical prophets, and the Torah, the Psalms, and the Gospel. This is already in conflict with Christianity and Judaism, because according to both religions, even according to the books were not sent by God. They were written by the prophets and apostles with inspiration from God. Many Muslims don't even know this. Especially the Psalms are songs and hymns. Imagine Allah writing songs for himself and sending them to the believers. Like, yo, check this out, I just wrote this new song. I had this question very early around my apostasy. Is the Kaaba not mentioned in the holy texts before the Quran? If not, why not? Did Allah not care about the Kaaba back then? Although in the Quran he says that the Kaaba was built by Abraham as the most important altar for Allah. The first one. Or did Christians and Jews secretly corrupt the Bible and removed all the references of the Kaaba for some weird reason, like traveling to hell altogether voluntarily? In the Quran, Mecca is even called the mother of cities and is an extremely important site where most biblical events allegedly took place. But once we take a look at the Bible, we see that something is heavily wrong about the Quran and the whole Kaaba Mecca thing. First off, the Kaaba is nowhere mentioned in the Bible. Secondly, Abraham built more than just one altar according to the Bible. Most importantly, there are 4 altars that he is believed to have built. The altar of praise in Shechem, which is here. It's even mentioned that the Canaanites were there, who did live in this region. The second altar is the altar of prayer, built in Bethel, which is located to the north of Jerusalem, around here. In the Bible, it's even described that he went to Egypt after building this altar, and came back to the altar from there. The third altar, the altar of peace, not to be confused with the religion of peace, is in Mamre, near Hebron, which is here. And the fourth altar is the altar of provision, the most important one, where he was tested to sacrifice Isaac, according to the Bible. That altar was on the Mount of Moriah, in Moriah, which is here, right next to Jerusalem. Of course, Islamic apologists believe that it was here instead. Abraham just walked from here to make a sacrifice. Sure. There might have been more altars according to Christian and Jewish belief, but these are the 4 altars, the important ones mentioned in the Bible. As you can see, all of them are in this region, which is no surprise considering that locations where Abraham went according to the Bible are also in these regions. But Islamic apologists take references from the Quran and suggest that all of that actually took place here. Which is of course totally believable and reliable, very legit. This is also an example of how Islamic scholars deceive you, especially how they deceive Muslim believers. While making explanations on how the Kaaba is holy, and taking short references from the Bible, they ignore all the surrounding clear details, which completely prove them wrong. Another aspect I want to add to the discussion is that Mecca and Kaaba were of no importance to the Christians and Jews at all, ever. Christians and Jews are also religious people who believe they will be saved if they believe in God and follow Him properly. So if the Kaaba was that God's most important site on earth, why would the Christians and Jews just abandon that and never care about it? Why would they change their own scripture, as Muslims today believe, and corrupt their own religion, their own faith, their own afterlife? Because they all want to go to hell? Makes no sense. The only explanation we have is that the Kaaba and Mecca were never of any importance to Christians and Jews and the Bible, because they were never mentioned in Christian or Jewish texts. Mecca was a nowhere, before Islam turned it into the center of their faith. It was a pagan settlement of no importance to the world, and the Kaaba was a regular pagan, Arab pagan artifact, and so was the black stone which is attached to it. Abrahamic religions don't revere old holy stones, but pre-Abrahamic Semitic religions did. And Arab paganism was a pre-Abrahamic Semitic collection of beliefs. It looks like Islam just adopted those pagan qualities. But since we are here, let's also refute a common suggestion made by Islamic apologists about Mecca in the Bible, as if there is any chance left to still believe in such a thing. Mecca is mentioned nowhere in the Bible. How could it be? Mecca doesn't appear in any written text, any literature, until the 8th century, 1 century after Islam and Muhammad. This should be a big surprise to Muslims, and yet it is a very easy, a very clear fact that you can easily check. Some Muslim apologists suggest that Mecca is mentioned in the Bible, in the Psalms, in a song, as the Valley of Baca, since Mecca is also called Baca in the Quran. But this could also be considered a joke, since the chapter talks about the pilgrimage to God's house, Jerusalem, and the Valley of Baca mentioned here is a place close to Jerusalem, which is definitely not this place. Jewish commenters always described it as the Valley of the Tree, which by the way is the literal translation of the Hebrew verse. The same word Baca is even used in the books of Samuel, and is a place, again a place of the tree, very close to Jerusalem. You realize how funny this Islamic suggestion is when you also realize that interpreting this verse as pointing to Mecca was first introduced by Muslims. Mecca is not mentioned in the Bible. As you can see, while Muslims believe that the Kaaba is the house of God, the most important place on our planet, the first altar, the focus of the world and of God, none of that is found in the older texts at all. Islam is not reliable, and its accounts of history and faith are unauthentic. Even its appeals to the Bible are heavily lacking and flawed. Islam can't even properly copy the religions it claims to be based on. How can it be accurate in any other way? Islam is false. Thanks for watching. Next week I will finally release my video on the Israel conflict. I have been planning it for a long time and many people have been asking me about it. It should be out on Wednesday. For now, happy Thanksgiving. If you want to support my cause of countering Islam and encouraging freedom and reason, you can support me on Patreon through the link in the description. And now you can also find official merchandise, also in the description. Question everything. Don't let them insult your intelligence. Stay away from Islam.